Hey everyone, welcome to this session. So in this session, I want to talk about the role of the um, forward deployed engineer. So as somebody who is teaching AI engineering, for me, it's important to keep an eye on what is happening in the industry. And for that, let me share my screen. AI. So for that, what I do is I have this Now, I have this project where every month I scrape data about AI engineering positions. And I run it every month. So there are multiple locations that I check. It's Los Angeles, New York, London, Amsterdam, Berlin, and also at some point I just added entire India, right? So this is the data set I have. The query I use for scraping is AI engineering. So this is the title, and whatever the search engine returns, I scrape it, right? And from what I see in this data, it's not only AI engineering, but also kind of AI adjacent roles that get in. And what I see in these roles is there are a lot of forward deployed engineers that we have also that we see in on the job market right now. So companies are really hiring. And today I want to talk about this. So I also see a lot of interest about this role on the social media. I personally get questions about this role because I teach AI engineering, and people are asking, "Hey, like I want to actually consider this role. Is this role for me? What can I do to upskill myself to become forward deployed engineer?" So this is what we are going to talk about today. So I myself, I'm not an AI, I'm not a forward deployed engineer. I'm consider myself more like an AI engineer, right? So that's why for me, there is a bit of a caveat that I need to add here, a bit of a disclaimer. So for me, I understand theoretically um, how to approach this. And in this session, I want to tell you how I would do this based on my experience, the experience as working as a principal data scientist, as doing AI for quite some time. But at the end of the day, I have not interviewed for this role. I didn't get any job offers for FDE positions, and I haven't worked as FDE, right? So treat this as a grain of salt, but I still hope that what we are going to cover today is going to be useful. Yes, please ask questions in Slack. I see that there are some spammers already, so I'm going to delete the spam. I don't know how to ban these people who share the spam, but yeah, please don't spam and use the chat to ask questions. And what I'm going to start with is this post I wrote. So I wrote a post about these forward deployed engineers some time ago. And what I want to do is I want to start the discussion by going through uh, the post. But then for me, it's more like a way to seed the discussion, to start the discussion, right? So I want you to ask questions, and I will be very happy to answer these questions or tell you how I would approach finding the answers to these questions, right? So I'm going to, oops, sorry, let me share it here in Slack. You can also easily find it if you go to alexeyondata.substack.com, and then it's one of the latest articles. Right. So what I see in data, as I said, as I mentioned, I'm scraping regularly AI engineering jobs because I want to know what I'm teaching is relevant to the students. Because maybe there is a new trend, new technologies, and I need to know like whether I should include this technology in my course or not. Um, and I can observe the market, right? I can see what people need, who they are hiring. And every month I get a lot of jobs. So right now, I think we have like almost 5,000 job descriptions. I've been doing this regularly since January, right? You can see this data for 6 months. And from what I can see, the market, the AI engineering market is actually growing, right? So I see that the demand for AI engineers is there. Companies are hiring. But what is also interesting that in addition to the growth of the general AI market, AI engineering market, the FDE role grow 2 times faster than the rest of the market, right? The rest of the AI engineering market. So there is a lot of demand for this role. And the reason there is a demand, maybe we can talk about this reason too. But forward deployed engineers, in short, are people who work at with the customer in the customer team, and they listen to the customer's problem and they help them integrate. They help them integrate, implement the solution to their problem using the tool of the company where they work. So let's say you work at Anthropic, you're a forward deployed engineer, you join a customer, you work with them in the same team. So you join their um, regular, I don't know, stand-ups, right? So you join their team and you work together with them to actually integrate Anthropic into their technology stack to solve their problem, right? So this is what they do. They work with customers, but this is not usual consultants. We will talk about the difference between usual consultants and FDEs, but they are more involved, right? So this is what FDEs need to do. And yeah, so I think if you're really interested in reading this, you can read the pros. I mean the article that I wrote about this, like who they are historically. So there's this company called Volunteer. They kind of pioneered the role. Um, and forward deployed engineers, they became popular in connection with AI. Right now, maybe you saw these posts like AI when AI forward deployed engineers. They actually acquired the company, and I think in London, right, where it was like a company that specialized on that, and now they are doing this. I think this is what contributed to the noise about the role. So all these companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, they all uh, hire this. And in general, maybe we can also take a look at our data set. Um, or maybe what I can do is Um, let me do job market and data structured. So this is how the data set looks like. So what I'll do is like forward. Yeah. So I don't know what is Kindrill, what is this role, but they have there is a job position. Do you have the actual link? No, I don't. But like this is the position they have. Well, so this is the title for deployed engineer AI. So the responsibilities is partner with customer to understand business challenges and translate them into a fit-for-purpose technical AI solutions. Second, build and iterate custom AI solutions tailored to customer needs, leveraging agentic AI frameworks. On end-to-end delivery from scope into production, deploying production-ready AI solutions on customer sites. Troubleshoot and enhance system performance, scalability, and reliability of deployed AI systems. Capture, deploy, and learning. Contribute to the evolution of Kyndryl's AI platform. Again, no idea what this is, but I think like with these responsibilities, you can describe 95% of all FDEs. So this is what they need to do. So they work with customers. They develop custom solutions tailored to customer needs. They own end-to-end delivery, right? So it's not like they just come and develop an MVP. This is what consultants do, and consultants after that typically leave. But the FDEs they stay, right? So they want to actually see the make sure that the project sees the production, right? So it actually start solving the real problem of real customers, right? So this is where often consultants leave, right? So they don't really see it end to end. Troubleshoot and enhance system performance. So this is basically like the deployment happened, but it's not over yet. You're still staying with the customer. You're still helping them um, figure out what are the problems are and how to solve these problems, even after the deployment happened, right? So it's already running in production, but there are some issues and you are there to help solve these issues. And what is also interesting about this role is at the end, you capture learnings. So you understand the learnings and then you work with the actual team, the software engineers behind your platform. You say, okay, this is the problem the customer has. I developed this unique solution, tailored solution, but it would be nice to actually have this problem solved for every customer, right? So this is what um, They do. Okay, and if we talk about use cases, custom enterprise AI solution prototyping, multi-agent system design, a RAG-based knowledge system, production-grade AI solution. So basically, in this case, it's not just a forward deployed engineer, but this is a forward deployed engineer who specializes in AI, right? And this is the kind of deployed engineers, forward deployed engineers we have in our data set, because in our data set, as I said, mm, we scrape AI engineering roles, right? That's why all the deployed, forward deployed engineers we have in the data set are somehow related to AI. I don't know, do you have any questions so far? Like, would be nice to actually, like, I want to use this um, as a starter for discussions. So maybe would be nice if you write in chat or maybe you unmute yourself and tell us why you decided to join this webinar, what is interesting about this role, and what you know, what you want to know more about this. And however, please note that this is recorded. So if you decide to unmute yourself and show the video, this is going to be recorded. So we will publish this openly. So you can also, if you don't want that, you can just ask a question in chat. Okay, I already see a question. Is there some data on which roles have converged into the FDI roles? Um, so that's actually on point. Like your question is on point because what I did is I took all these kind of descriptions, right? I think this is, I would treat this as a very canonical description of the forward deployed engineer, right? Um, so you see like they have all the skills that they need. Again, this is AI deployed, forward deployed engineer. So I collected all these things. And at the end, I had like 113 unique positions. And I looked at the um, the requirements, the responsibilities, right? So we looked here at responsibilities. So I looked at all of them. So 90% of them mentioned direct client engagement. I'm not sure why the 10% of them did not. Maybe they just implied that it's there. But as we see, the majority of them, and the next one, like it's only 3% less. Maybe, yeah, it's, I don't know, one or two positions, one or two descriptions have less than the rest. They describe building and deploying production systems, right? So this is kind of the how to say, like the essence of this role, right? So direct client engagement plus production systems, right? So this is what the role is about. And then of course, like in order to do this, you need to create systems, you need to work on APIs, data integration, blah, blah. Also for many FDEs, it's not only about deploying, but also project scoping. So they are there from the very beginning. So the customer wants them to integrate AI. How do they start? Which problem they solve, right? So this is what they need to know too. So they have to have this product mindset, right? To help them discover with problem discovery. And then this is channeling customer feedback back into the core product roadmap, saying, hey, like, this is what my customer is experiencing. How about we solve it for all the customers, right? Prototypes, not a lot of them. So I think you probably do scoping, then you develop a prototype, and then you make sure that this prototype is you turn this prototype into a production ready system, then you build and productionize it, right? Okay, so these are the main responsibilities, and the question was again, is there some data on which roles have converged into the FDA role? So this is the data I have, and as you see that most of them mention this, right? So I think from what I see in the industry, there is, if you take forward deployed engineers, most of them mention that. So I think there is a general agreement uh, that they work directly with clients and they work on production systems. Like for the rest, you can see that there is no, like it's not uniform like yet. Some companies, some postings don't mention that. But yeah, I think if you want to describe an FDE into sentences, it would be like direct customer engagement and building and deploying production systems with the customer, right? So the rest is mentioned less, but I think from what I see in data, there is some definition that the industry is converging to. And what they do, I think we kind of like if I just go through this thing, we'll be kind of repeating uh, ourselves. one more time, right? So I don't think it's necessary. So when it comes to the skills, so let me actually check your questions. I think this could be interesting if we start this discussion with questions. Um, so do they require DevOps skills as well, like Kubernetes? So this is, I selected this question on purpose because now we want to talk about skills. And was there another one? Would they need a ton of experience in software engineering deployment to get into this role? So from the data, it looks like FDEs are experienced software engineers who also know DevOps, right? I mean, most of them are expected, at least, I don't know, 40%, right? So they expected to know a cloud provider, but they expected to know like Kubernetes, CI/CD. But I would say like there is also this expectation from software engineer that they know these kind of things. They don't need to be, I don't know, platform engineers, but they just need to be software engineers and they need to know DevOps stuff, right? So they don't have to be DevOps engineers, platform engineers themselves, but they need to be exposed into these things. They need to have experience working with these things. Um, but yeah, like as we know, 90% or what, almost 90% are building and deploying production systems. So the skills reflect that, right? So most of them mention Python. I think in my data set is biased because I'm collecting data about AI engineers. Most AI engineers are writing code in Python, less in TypeScript, but also TypeScript is like the second most popular language. But also, I don't think like they many of them just don't mention the language, assuming like whatever client needs to use, they use. Oops. Yeah, so software engineering, then applied AI, right? So they are not just software engineers, they are AI engineers, at least in my data set, right? So, and since we're all here, we're probably more interested in AI forward deployed engineers, not just FDEs in general. But I think the recent interest in this FDE role is related to uh, these companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, and Databricks, and many others. Google is also rebranding their consultants into this FDE role. So there is a lot of buzz coming from exactly from this AI adoption. Companies that are kind of pushing for or have AI products and they want to uh, clients to get these AI products. So there is a lot of buzz around this role that is related to AI. So then, yeah, many of them are expected to have AI, even though like I don't see a lot of mentions. Like it's not like the the majority, but like 96% they mentioned prompt. Although I don't know, like prompt engineering is a skill, whether hmm, you can call it like a proper skill, but yeah, we can see that there are some things that are related to AI that are mentioned. And then cloud deployment, customer-facing work. Yeah, we all talked about this. But yeah, so they are working with clients. They need to be good at this kind of having this product sense in a way to be able to uh, get the specification, to understand what like scoping, this kind of stuff, and then actually build in production, right? So they also need to have like a bit of a product manager mindset in addition to being a good AI engineer and in addition to knowing a bit of platform engineering like DevOps stuff. So yeah, like Marie, your question was, would they need to have a ton of experience in software engineering? I'm inclined to say yes, right? So from what I see, this role is mostly senior, even though they don't mention the word senior, but from the responsibilities that I see, this is something that typically in companies senior engineers do, right? Senior engineers, they are working often with product managers to help with scoping, yeah, doing things like that. So I would, from what I see, the role is rather senior and it assumes a lot of experience in software engineering. Probably there are more junior roles. And actually, I saw on LinkedIn somebody wrote in a comment saying that they got hired as a junior FDE, but I would say this is rather uncommon, right? So this is unusual. So usually, if you want to follow that route, follow that path, probably first you want to become like you want to get hired as a software engineer or AI engineer, and then get experience there, and only after that start doing more customer-facing work. I think like when it comes to the seniority, there is some data, maybe I can check here. When it comes to seniority, role, FDE. So I did some analysis first here in this repo. Maybe I can also share it with you. So let's see. We have some seniority. Yeah. So they most of them don't have any seniority marker, but from what I see, the role is rather senior, right? So some say senior, principal, staff, lead, right? So this is from the description you kind of understand that that if you're not senior, for you doing scoping and then prototyping and then deployment and then like production and then following into production, if you're not senior, is just too much, right? Too difficult. You have to have this experience to be able to own this thing end to end. So let's see what kind of other questions we have. A follow-up question is that all new buzz about FDE, what do senior roles managerial one get called out as? FDMs? I have no idea. Like this is not what I have in data. I do not know any uh, uh, forward deployed engineering managers. There must be some managers, right? So probably in companies we have this role solution architect, right, or solution engineer. So these are like consultants. So somebody is managing them. So I think there is a similar role um, for FDs. So Mariano is saying that this FDE is a PO, product owner, plus AI engineer, plus SRE. Like I would say, uh, yes, there is a linear combination of this. Let me just I'll close others. So yeah, let's say we have this formula FDE. This is PO, or I'll call product manager, okay? Plus AI engineer plus SRE. Okay, right? But there are some components, some coefficients between before this, A, B, and C, right? So I think so. From what we see in the data, let me see. Uh, where is it? Right. So they all need to do client engagement. So let's say this is 0.9 times PM. Uh, oops, where did it go back? System deployment, data integration. So I'll say 0.7 AI engineer, and then SRE is I don't know. I'll get system monitoring 41. I mean, it's still like it doesn't have to be like 100%, but from what I see, yeah, well, they're still called engineers. They're still called, yeah. So let's take this formula as a starting point, right? This is what we see from data, but they're still engineers, right? So maybe if I wanted to change it, I would maybe put like emphasis here. And probably they are not really product managers to the full extent of what product managers do. So maybe like I'll say it's 30% and then another percent, 30% maybe SREs, right? So something like this and then 90%. And if we normalize it, then I don't know. So in total, we have 3 plus 9 plus 3, which is same plus. So we have 5, right? In total, it's 5. So let's say it's 1/5 PM, 3/5 engineer, and 1/5 SRE. I don't know if it makes any sense, but maybe this could be the, I'll use this 0.6. I don't know, does it make sense? I just came up with this, but maybe like if we want to have like a to show to decompose FDE as a linear combination of like these roles that we know, perhaps this is something along these lines, but I just came up with this. But maybe it's not far from the truth. Okay, as a PM and interested to turn into FDE, does it need to be deeply technical? I think it should be pretty technical, right? So, like, would you be comfortable with deploying things on your own? If not, like, I think you should first work as a software engineer, AI engineer, and only then consider doing FDE work. Yes, you are fluent in Cloud Code, but like I think it's not enough, right? So you have to have production experience. So it's good that you have this product management experience. It's really helpful, and it's really helpful for you as an engineer if you want to become an AI engineer. You have these superpowers of creating proper specs for the coding agents, right? So because you can specify what you want really clearly, you have this advantage, right? But you still need to have like kind of battle tested production experience. You need to see things failing in production. You need to be able to recover things before you actually do this in a customer team, right? So you have to have this experience. Because what if something breaks in production in customer and for you it's the first time, right? So like how do you react to this? Do you call your colleagues to help or I don't know. So from my opinion, again, might be wrong, but I think from my opinion, you have to have this production experience before you do this. So as a PM, I don't know how much experience you have with like, for hands-on production experience, right? Not as a product manager observing other engineers fixing bugs, but like doing it yourself. It's very similar to business analyst with strong knowledge of AI tools and maybe others. Yeah. So if we look at this definition that I came up with, it looks like if you replace PM with business analyst, yes. But like there should be some product aspect or business analysis aspect. What skills and roadmaps or courses will be helpful? I am a data scientist with 6 years of experience. How to switch into this? Okay, so now we're talking. I think here I have a section, who is a good fit, right? So I have some roles. Here, AI engineers are the best fit. So you are already a data analyst, right? So data analyst is somewhere, not even here. Like I think in the initial draft of this article, there was a data analyst, but I removed it. So as a data analyst, you need to catch up a lot, right? So as we see here, the best fit for this position, at least if we talk about AI FDEs, right? So the best fit are AI engineers, right? So you need to go to get to the level of an AI engineer first. And then because of your data analysis background, you have this product sense. Like in my experience working with data analysts, they are really good, not good product managers, but they have this very good product feeling, right? Product sense. They understand, they can place themselves in the shoes of users, right? So this is your superpowers, right? So you have this part, right? But it's only 20% of the work, right? So you need the other 80%. And this is already difficult enough, right? So you also will need to have a bit of SRE or, I don't know, DevOps, uh, right? So like for now, I would suggest you to focus on this part, on getting really hands-on experience with AI engineering. And then after that, um, and you have to like it, right? So you need to realize, okay, I really like what I do as AI engineer, but I still like what I was doing as a data analyst. So I still want to have this kind of exposure to business. So then FDE role would be nice for you. Right. So then who is a good fit? As we discussed, AI engineers are the best fit, at least when it comes to AI FDEs. Then software or product engineers, they're already good fit. They just need to be, so if we now decompose AI engineer more, right? So AI engineer is like, let's say 80% as a software engineer plus, I don't know, 20% data scientist or not data scientist. I don't want to use the word data scientist, but like, all this Gen AI modeling stuff, uh, right? But they are software engineers, right? So if you want to become an AI engineer, probably as a data analyst, you are already exposed to Gen AI stuff to some extent, right? So this is where you need to focus on, right? So you need to focus on software engineering. And then for software engineers, they are already strong in many aspects. They just need uh, to fill this gap of applied AI, right? And this is not something that is too difficult for software engineers, Right, data engineers is they are kind of in the same bucket as software engineers. ML engineers, they're very close to AI engineers, right? So for ML engineers, so this is what I observed here in this AI engineering field guide. So here, this repo, this AI engineering field guide, focuses more on AI engineering rather than FDEs. And from what I see in learning paths for ML engineers, this is like the easiest transition, right? So they already know many things, and many ML engineers are already working with Gen AI, right? So for them, oftentimes it's just rebranding themselves from ML engineer to AI engineer. So for them, like becoming, so they're just one step behind the AI engineers in order to, like, if they want to consider a career in the forward deployed engineers. And then we have this platform DevOps engineers, right? So again, if we come here, so they're here, but they will need to work on this thing. And solution engineers, yeah. So since they already have this kind of consultant experience, so this is what I put as PM, but maybe I should also write consultant because you have to understand the business problem of the customer, right? So you can consult. Well, this is what consultants do, right? I know it makes sense. I'll leave it as a PM, but this is what solution engineers also do, right? But they don't necessarily, they can do prototype, but they don't necessarily do this kind of thing, and maybe not a lot of that, like only, I don't know, half of that maybe. Um, yeah. So you need to build, you need to work with customers, and you need to own the outcome. And I think this is what kind of I try to describe here as this formula. So let's see which skills and the roadmap of courses. I think, yeah, we covered that, Rupesh. So I think for you, you would need to get here as a AI engineer. And of course, I can recommend my course. And after this webinar that we have, you will get a link um, to that course, right? But this is not the only way, right? So you can pick up the skill by building projects, by working on your own projects, right? You can see which skills are required for AI engineers. Like maybe here, learning path, you can see where you are. Okay, for data analyst, you probably need to like consider data science, right? And then you need to do these things. Okay, is it a strong role that requires a lot of soft and it's a strong role that requires a lot of soft and hard skills. Yes. So that's why I said it's more a senior role. I don't think like from a junior, you don't expect juniors to have a lot of soft skills and a lot of hard skills. Maybe they have hard skills, right? But soft skills, you wouldn't expect juniors to have them normally, right? But for this role, you want to have both. And there was a tweet I found something some time ago. So let me quickly stop sharing my screen and I want to quickly find it. Um, Um, so I'm trying to find it. Okay, I cannot. But there was a tweet. Let me just share my screen again. There was a tweet saying, "Hey, like FD is somebody who is not just autistic, right?" I don't want to offend anyone who is on the spectrum. But anyways, so there was a tweet that used this language, right? So FD is somebody who is not autistic. They use stronger language. But then there was somebody retweeted it with a quote saying that the difference between a good software engineer and somebody you can put in front of a customer is very large, right? So the gap between good software engineer and somebody you can put in front of a customer, you don't find a lot of people. That's why, yeah. So these are the skills you really need to have. Um, you need to have both soft skills, hard skills. So just hard skills are not enough. You need to be able to work with customers. Um, you have connection issues. I hope I don't have any more, but yeah, I'm sorry about that if I do. I created products based on hackathon requirements. Okay, good. Um, this role is mainly what Palantir does. Yes, Carlos, that's correct. What is the split between technical versus business domain experience that FDEs typically have? I think we kind of discussed it, right? So I don't know if these numbers are correct, right? So these numbers are just came up on the spot. Um, so it can also vary between company and from company to company. We saw that 90% of them are required to work with the customer and like 87 do production stuff, right? So I would expect that it's like kind of 50-50 maybe. So they have to have a lot of technical expertise, but also a lot of business domain, right? So I don't know. This zero point 0.2 is pretty arbitrary, can be different, maybe can be more. But also, as I said, they don't have to be 100% business analysts, right? So maybe in this case, you would just get a business analyst who would sit down with the customer, figure out the problem using their business analysis skills, and then work together with the FDE, right? If they really need somebody strong on this side. So I wouldn't expect somebody like 100% PM here, right? Because finding somebody who is 100% PM and 100% AI engineer, I don't think it's possible. Okay, is FDE reporting to CTO or CEO or what? I don't know. Could be different. Like really depends on the setup they have. Um, I think using spec-driven development really helps for this role. Yes, Mariano. I think using spec-driven development really helps. And in general, it helps you as a AI engineer. So let's set aside the FDE role. If you're an engineer, let alone AI engineer, using spec-driven development is already very helpful. And I really like this role called product engineer. That's a product engineer is um, yeah, somebody who is very close to product, right? And for them, they first ask like, what is the problem I am solving for the customer before implementing this? And they can translate this into a specification, right? Acceptance criteria. They don't necessarily need like a product managers to do that. And I think this is a really cool role. Um, but I think when you're senior enough, you have to become as product engineer, right? To some extent. Um, yeah. Uh, but speaking of spec-driven development, like if we again talk about, like if I go back to my Substack, I had an article about this AI native development specifications, loop, and graph engineering. I'm going to share it with you. And so there I describe how you as an engineer can use specification-driven development um, to work to make sure that AI creates what you need. So it's definitely a nice thing to have. I definitely recommend checking it out. Um, I literally started on project today where I'm managing two FDEs, so I'm not sure if I should call myself a forward deployed manager. Um, yeah, I mean, you can call yourself whatever you want, but it's interesting. Do you manage them from the on the customer, so they are your kind of service providers, and you manage them, or you are working in the as a service provider and you have two FDEs who report to you, but they work with customers on site. That's really interesting. Um, it's the latter. Okay. Um, so you are not on site with the customer, but they are, and they report to you and they tell you what they do, right? Okay, it's interesting. Like maybe you can also mention what your background is to just the other way around. Okay, sorry. Former and latter for me, it's always confusing. Like for me, it's like first or second. But basically, you are a customer and you manage two forward deployed engineers, right? Okay, got it. Okay. So yeah, I guess you are a manager and then you manage a team, but in addition to that, now you have these two FDEs that you have to manage. Okay. I hope you're happy about this and I hope they're useful. But yeah, since it's your first day, I guess you'll find out. How much would the training cost? I don't know, Philip, if your question is about my course. Yes, of course, I have a course, and that's here. So since you asked, we can talk about the course. So my course, this AI Engineering Build Camp. So this is for if you're already, so if you want to become an AI engineer and if you're already good with engineering, so this is the course that will teach you to become an AI engineer. So of course, if we talk about FDEs, so this will not be enough to become an FDE, but this one in this course, I will teach you how to become an AI engineer, right? So you can see the cost yourself. You can see the starting date. Um, yeah. So since you asked, I would mention, I would have mentioned it at the end of this workshop, anyways. But yeah, so we will do it in a month and a half. All right. So if you're interested, yeah, you can enroll, or you can also, where do we have? Yeah, because you're here on this webinar, you will get you will join the waiting, not the waiting list, but you'll join the mailing list. You will see all the updates about the course. Okay, just in case, I will show it here. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so please keep them coming. And Tanush, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Well, I hope, yeah, you figure this out and have fun with this. And I hope it will be very productive. So, okay, I will continue. I think we mentioned, I mentioned already, I covered all the parts in this article. So we covered what they do, what their responsibilities are, the skills. We covered who is a good fit. Maybe the last thing is that we didn't cover is how it's different from other roles, right? So the first one, the obvious one, maybe this was something I should start with, is AI engineers, right? So AI engineers, they don't work with the customers, right? So they work in the core product, right? And FDEs work with customers, right? So this is the main difference. So they have to work with customers. They have to have this product sense, um, right? To be able to find, okay, what is the best problem to solve with AI now in your organization? But otherwise, I would say they are AI engineers, right? Solution sales engineers, so they focus on demo. So let's say I'm considering Snowflake, and what Snowflake can give me is a person who will come and explain how I should use Snowflake. And they will probably help me do a quick demo with my data, and then they sell Snowflake to me, and then they disappear, right? So say, okay, the sale is done, bye, right? Um, Consultant is kind of similar. So solution engineer is somebody who works for the client, and the goal is to, um, I don't know, either sell the product to you or after you bought, develop a first prototype. But then again, like it's up to you and your team to finish to see it in production. Um, and consultant is kind of solution engineer, but more like independent, right? So they will not necessarily push for Snowflake. They can say, okay, for your problem, actually, Snowflake is not the right solution. You use Databricks or whatever, right? So they can recommend, like they are more mm, solution agnostic. Let's say they will, um, yeah, give you a more unbiased view. But FDs probably, so you will have FDs when you already are a client, right? So probably you already had a solution engineer who did a quick demo for you, and you bought it, and now you have FDs that you have to manage, I guess. Okay, yeah. So these are the main roles with who I wanted to compare this. But I think, yeah, it's kind of obvious from what we discussed. So let's see if there are questions. This be a practical career period for a QA automation engineer? Yes, to some extent, because a QA engineer. So what I have from my experience, QA engineers, they are closer to business than software engineers. So QA engineers have to understand the user better. So you have this thing that other engineers don't necessarily have, right? So this is what you can use, but then you have to upskill yourself to become a good AI engineer, right? If you want to work as a AI FDE, right? But yeah. It's a practical career pivot, but you have to like it. And then actually, this is how we can finish the session today. Like, how do you decide if this role is for you, right? So you need to ask yourself these questions. You probably know what these questions are, right? Because we talked about them all this session. But like, you kind of have to like interacting with customers. You have to like interacting with people for that matter, right? So not all engineers are happy with interacting with people. And by that, I mean, like, you really need to talk to many stakeholders, business stakeholders, right? You need to understand in this company, when I integrate our solution into the company, what is the best problem I need to solve? Because I want them to continue paying us, right? So the company should continue using us as the service provider. So I need to select the best use case that will show how that will show the return on investment, but also will kind of hook the client with your service, right? With your product. Right. So you need to really like this customer interaction, right? And you really need to have this kind of, you need to wear these business shoes or business hat, right? To understand, like, there are this, first of all, understand how many problems are there that you can solve, right? And then you discover, okay, there are these 10 problems that you can solve. What is the best problem that I should solve as problem number one, right? And then, okay, you identified this problem. How can I scope it properly? You also need to like it, right? Of course, maybe you'll have business analysts who will help you, but this is the part of work you have to enjoy. Otherwise, otherwise you can just stay be an AI engineer and you're fine, right? And then since you work with clients, clients can have different stacks, and then I don't know to what extent. I have a friend who is a forward deployed engineer. He doesn't change customers often, but then he eventually, like, he doesn't stay with one customer forever, right? So he does change customers, he does change products, and then you have to be comfortable working with different stacks, right? So in one case, let's say you work on Anthropic, you come and then they use Java, right? In another case, they use PHP. In the third case, they use I don't know, TypeScript. You need to be comfortable working with all these languages. Um, and then, like, this question, you ask yourself, if you, let's say you're a consultant and you're used to showing prototypes, but then you're not really keen on owning the end-to-end result, like deployment, production, all these things, right? So for me, for example, when I was a data scientist, I really like creating prototypes, but sometimes I just didn't have enough backend experience to deal with some things, right? So for me, like, okay, there was an example when I needed to debug gRCP, and then backend engineers helped me, but like, I don't necessarily want to. In some cases, I want to go that deep, right? Um, so to what extent you want to go? To how deep you want to go? Like, if you're already doing engineering work, for you, this is fine. But if you're, let's say, as I was a data scientist, I didn't really want to go very deep into production, or maybe you as a consultant, you also don't want to do that. You enjoy creating MVPs, but then you'd rather have others finish it. Maybe it's not the best career choice for you. Can I explain technical constraints to non-specialists? I think this is something that is related to the first points. And then I think this one, I'm willing to work with customers' existing systems. This is related to this working across several different stacks. And do I enjoy turning recurring customers' problems into usable product improvements? So I think most of these things are customer related, and we as engineers, we don't always enjoy this. So we have to enjoy this to like the role too, right? So I think these are the questions you should ask yourself. And if the answer is yes, or if the answer is yeah, maybe I want. If the answer is maybe I want, I would actually suggest you to try um, getting like a consultant role first to see if you actually like it. And then if you like that part, you also get the experience you need. Like, let's say you're an engineer now, you're not sure if you like working with customers, try being a freelancer, right? So if you're a freelancer, you kind of have to do this. And then at some point you can say, okay, now I have enough experience to position myself as a FDE. Okay, and I think that's it, what I wanted to show. So if you're considering this role, ask yourself these questions. And I think you will also find answers like how you should approach depending on where you stand. And yeah, I have some conclusion here, but yeah, I think it's a really interesting role. And if somebody of you starts working there, I would really be interested in speaking to you and learning what you do. So please reach out. And then let me check if there are more questions. Can we showcase our own projects as experiences, product creation to qualify for this role? Of course, why not? Like, I mean, you can use whatever you want. I don't see any problems with that. But I think, as I just mentioned, working as a freelancer can be the first step, right, towards that. Okay, do you have any more questions? Okay, my throat is kind of tired of speaking. Well, maybe you don't have questions right now, or maybe you're watching this in recording. So what you can do is you will receive an automatic email when the recording is ready. So what you can do is you can just reply to this email if you have a follow-up question, and I will be happy to answer. Um, Also, if you're interested in my course, of course, feel free to ask. But as I said, in my course, we focus more on AI engineering. So there is not much software engineering, there is not much customer interaction. So if this is the only thing you need to pick up, let's say if you're a data scientist, or if you're a data engineer, or if you're a software engineer, right? So then for you, this course will be useful in order to become an AI engineer. But then as an AI engineer, you need to figure out how to to bridge this gap, right, with customer discovery and things like that, right? And for that, um, maybe there are other courses, but I think like if you focus on learning it by doing, by interacting, maybe at work you can work with your product managers, right? And you can say, hey, like I know you're doing this user interview, can I take part too? Right? So then it will help. Or work as a freelancer. And yeah, with that, I think I should stop sharing my screen. So thanks a lot for um, joining me today. So I hope you learned something new. And yeah, mm, happy to answer any questions you have. So you know how to find me. And don't forget to subscribe to my Substack. I plan to regularly post new things there. So I will share the link again. Oops. So see you there. So bye everyone.